Hello, friends. My, am I glad to see you? I had a long day, a very long day. I'm the arranger for a project, and it's remarkable to me what this work can mean. And there's a really incredible kind of archetypal process that just is what it is when it comes to this type of work. Let me explain. So the first time I really worked as an arranger was for a show several years ago, and it was an insane project. Looking back on it, it was a completely insane project because I was transcribing an entire score for a musical from YouTube videos and then rewriting the lyrics and then rearranging it and rewrite it. It was a completely insane project. But I learned an awful lot. I went through that eye of the needle and came out the other side completely confident that I knew that I could take on any subsequent projects. I've never had to do another project that was that labor intensive, including this one. And what stands out to me about that is that there's this eye of the needle aspect to doing any creative work. It's kind of like the universe says, you're gonna have to just squeeze through this impossible space. And the space that I'm squeezing through right now on this project is not impossible. It's possible. It's just kind of on the edge. It's sort of I'm being pushed. I'm being tested. I'm going to the next level. I'm feeling myself be pulled to the next level, and I'm as I do the work, it's like I'm getting faster and faster and faster, and I see myself becoming faster and faster, and I'm also getting obsessed. I'm sitting here for hours, not exercising, not eating, doing all the things that I did the first time around. And so what the reason I'm bringing this up is because it is not just simply to offload my day's woes onto you, dear people, but to point out that even in the midst of what seems like a kind of insane process and a sort of like, the whole point of the eye of the needle is to convince you, or not to convince you. The point of the eye of the needle is to test your resolve and see if you will take the bait of believing that maybe you won't make it. That's the eye of the needle test. It's trying to see if you will bite on the idea. Maybe I won't make it. Because if you do that, you're kind of lost. You lose your center. We lose our center. We get pulled into the chaos of it. So, but holding that center, really anchoring down into that center, is something that is just it never gets easier. It only ever gets tougher. As we go, we are being asked to hold our center in the context of ever greater centripetal forces. That's the whole deal. That's the whole deal. Because our capacity to hold our center and our capacity to create a gravitational core to our creative selves is what's going to determine how large of an orbit we can have, right? what can circulate in how much can circulate in our orbit, and yet we still hold our center. So the universe is being benevolent when it tests us like this. It's actually creating, as I've said on God knows how many posts already, it's creating a new capacity. It's creating the capacity for us to hold new energy, to really deeply embody a level of poise and composure and effectiveness, skillfulness that we never have. And so, a crazy day like today, which still isn't nearly as crazy as some of my days have been in the past, but just one of those days where you start to go, ooh, oh, I see. Oh, we're not, this isn't going to be just like a normal day, is it? A day like that has the effect, both of testing my center and really kind of giving me that energetic infusion. I don't know what to call it. I was going to call it a shock. It's not really a shock. It's just it's like sticking your, I don't know, it's like being hooked up to electrodes or something. It has that effect, but then it also, thank God I'm doing this work. And thank God I have you, lovely people, to every day I've declared that I'm going to come to, this video post and articulate and encapsulate a key spiritual lesson from the day, because that is also part of coming back to the center, making that part of our day really explicit, and just the fact that we have to consciously show up and be there and be in that place of total centeredness. I mean, that's what I've said this post is about. So that's such a huge help. And I think, this is, again, I've been saying, and you're going to get more of this over the next few days and weeks, but I've been saying, I'm really looking at now, what is my next step with this video post? What am I going to do next? Because I was thinking, I could stop doing a daily post and go back to my previous posts and cultivate, because one of the things I want to do is go back and see everything I've said for a year and really kind of dig into that and excavate and really clarify for myself the principles of creative spirituality. And there's a lot of stuff in here about music and teaching, my music teaching and my music performance as well. So all that's all stuff that I want to really come back into contact with again and be able to bring to another level of clarity for myself so that I can impart that. So that's part of what I want to do. But as I started to think about, but am I going to do that instead of my daily post? I was like, well, one thing about this daily post is that it keeps me really outward facing, and it makes me have an accountability to people like you. So, and that's one of the major, God, if there is a principle of creative spirituality that's sort of been the silent one throughout this entire year so far, it's that we show up. It's that I show up and I greet you from the place of spiritual connection, from the space of being anchored in myself, from the place of being in the perspective of spiritual consciousness, from that connected place. And I've declared that I'm going to speak from that place. If I'm playing piano, I'm going to play from that place. And so this entire year has been a practice of getting better and better at that, and going deeper and deeper. And so giving that up to go and do kind of like cleanup work on my on what I've said before doesn't feel right. So I think I can confidently say that this post is going to continue past January 4th. I'm going to keep on going with the daily post as it is, because it is proving to be just one of the most valuable practices of my life, and I'm connecting with all of you and receiving so much wonderful feedback that I don't want to change that. That's not something that needs to be adjusted. I think I've kind of nailed it with that. What I may do is go and do all that other work anyway, and just make it something that then probably comes online in my daily posts. Not all, maybe not all the time, but occasionally, and also becomes the kind of foundation for other work, and for other teaching, other performing, other everything that I might be doing. So I told you I was going to unpack this a little bit with you present, so you could get a sense of what I'm thinking. So that's where I am right now. This post is going to continue, and but it's going to grow. There are going to be some outgrowths of it that I also I'm going to add in, because ultimately the conclusion is that I'm come to is it's something to build on. It's not something to replace or to re-envision. It's something to build on. The vision can grow, but it's not about. But it's also an incredible thing in its own right. So anyway, more soon. I love you so much. Hope your day was fantastic. And yeah, I just cannot tell you how much this conversation means. And as I head into the upcoming weeks, I suspect that it's only going to become more and more true. We all need that. We all need that thing that is our spiritual anchor. That thing that is non-negotiable and requires of us the thing we most want to be doing, the thing that is most important to us. It builds a requirement into our life that we do the thing that we're that's most valuable to us. So you are that thing. Thank you. So much love. I'll see you tomorrow.